El día de hoy, The Perfect Me se viste de gala. La grandiosa Ciudad de México es hogar de misses de todo el mundo. Y este es el caso de Miss Canadá, Jaime Vandenberg, que representará a su país en Miss Mundo el próximo año. Ella es top model, escribe artículos para la revista Cosmopolitan, es amante del mundo de las leyes y vela por la seguridad de las mujeres viajeras.
Welcome Miss World Canada to Mexico City. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. I'm so glad to be here.
Do you love Mexico?
So much, so much.
Okay, because I would like to tell everybody that she's here on a modeling contract, first of all, and I see in your eyes that you are so comfortable here, that you like this place, and please tell us, what exactly, do you like the most of Mexico?
Well, aside from the Chilaquiles, because I have a bit of a Chilaquila problem, it's definitely just the weather, the people. For myself, one of my biggest goals while I'm in Mexico City actually is to learn Spanish. And I've traveled to so many different countries, and it's not always easy when you don't understand the local language. But one thing that I found greatly is that when I even just try to speak Spanish in Mexico City, I find that everybody tries to understand me. So if my accent is a little bit off or my pronunciation is a little bit off, honestly, the people genuinely want to understand, and they just make me feel so comfortable and so happy for trying. And I love the environment and the people here.
So, when you had the option to fly to Mexico to work here as a model, what were your impressions of Mexico before coming here?
Well, as a Canadian, I definitely thought that Mexico was always really hot. And it's not always that hot. Because when I came, I didn't bring like a coat or anything. I think Mexico, I think hot. And actually, even this time of year in the mornings, it's a little bit chilly. So I'm putting on layers and layers and layers. So I think my first impression, of course, was that Mexico was beautiful, but also that it was always hot. And that's not quite the case.
Oh, and which cities have you visited here in Mexico?
Well, Guadalajara, because I know I pronounced it a little bit wrong. And Mexico City, of course, San Miguel de Allende, Merida. I'm trying to think, there's so many
Merida.
Tequila. Where else? I don't know. Puerto Vallarta, Cancun. Yeah.
You have visited a lot.
Yeah.
Very beautiful places.
So beautiful.
So while being here, what has been your biggest cultural shock?
Okay, so I think my biggest cultural shock is having to do with language, because as I mentioned before, I am trying to learn Spanish, but when I think about speaking in another language, I sometimes have the problem of taking a regular sentence and just changing it. So I was actually telling you this story earlier, and one time I was trying to explain that it was really warm, and I wanted to say like I am hot, and I was trying to suggest maybe they should turn on the air conditioning, but to take the sentence in English to say I'm hot and to just turn it doesn't quite work the same. And everybody in the van started laughing, and I was so confused, but I'm definitely learning more Spanish every day.
So, comparing to the interaction of people in Canada and the interaction of how people interact with each other in Mexico, what do you like the most of it here?
I think what I like the most about interacting with people here is just that it's so warm all the time. Like, by warm, I don't just mean temperature, of course. I mean in the way that people act with one another. People are so welcoming, and if you walk by a restaurant, they're quick to say, "Come on in, like come sit down." And in Canada, we're about a very welcoming type of people as well, but not as so much as Mexico, I find, because maybe it's just that there's more people outside all the time, and maybe that has to do with the more livable temperature year round. But yeah, I just think people are so welcoming and warm and inviting in Mexico.
Oh, so that's really great. So, do you see yourself living here forever?
I've thought about it. I don't know permanently, because I could never leave my family like that, but definitely seasonally. I know there's a lot of Canadian snowbirds that just come down in the winter, and probably I'd be one of those too.
Wow. So, for example, you have been already here. Yes, and maybe you know a little bit of Mexican beauty queens. Could you tell me of those ones that you really consider your favorite ones?
Well, I mean, of course, Andrea Meza. She's kind of the heart of Mexico lately. So she's definitely a favorite, but also the Miss World Mexico, Carolina. I've been talking with her a little bit, but I would love to meet up with her at some time and I know, like, talk about her experience and everything that she's been doing.
Wow, I think that it is great all what you are telling. And which advice would you give to those Mexican young girls that would like to follow your steps in representing their country in Miss World?
I think one of the biggest things to representing your country in Miss World has to do with community connection and really getting to know the community that you're from. I'm from a smaller community in rural Alberta, and there's been so much support from people around me, and it's so heartwarming, but it's very important to know the people that you're representing. And in a country as diverse as Mexico, that's a very difficult challenge. So if you're up to the challenge, I think the first thing is to get to know the people from where you are.
Wow, amazing answer. We really love it. And I would like to ask you something else. For example, why do you love Mexico?
Wow, that's a hard question because I feel like it's just so dynamic. There's so many different things. I mean, of course, the weather, the environment. I think a lot of people in Canada, when they think about Mexico, they think Cancun, beach, party. But for myself, actually, the environment here is really cool because I grew up near the Rocky Mountains and I really like mountain climbing. And it's not really something you can do year-round because of how the temperature gets. But in Mexico, I've actually been able to summit Nevado de Toluca in a cold part of the year. That's not something that I would consider in Canada. And I'm really, really hoping that during my time here, I could actually summit Pico de Orizaba. I hope I said that right.
Yes, you said it right. Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many things in Mexico. I could go on for ages, but I'm so grateful to be here and to get to know it better and explore more too.
Wow, so dear Jaime, thank you very much for your precious time. I'm sure that all our Mexican followers are going to love your interview and they are going to love you because the love that you give to Mexico, you are going to receive it back.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias.
Igualmente.
Okay, so please final words like saying bye-bye to everybody.
Okay, well, thank you so much for tuning into this interview. I really appreciate it, and follow along because hopefully the next time I can do this more in Spanish. Good luck, and I hope everybody stays safe. Bye.
Muchas gracias por acompañarnos en esta entrevista. No se te olvide darle like y compartir este video, ya que tendremos más misses extranjeras que viven aquí en la Ciudad de México.